Peace, peace. What's the word, everybody, man? Give everybody a chance to tune on in before we start building on subject matter for the day. Hopefully, everybody is having a powerful Monday thus far, man. Got some important things to build on. So, hopefully, y'all starting the week off on a very good, efficient, positive, powerful note. So, again, how everybody living, man? What's the word? Let me know how y'all feeling, how y'all living out here, man. What's the word? Talk to me before I start talking. Y'all know how it go. Hopefully y'all had a solid weekend too, man. Like I said, took the weekend off, man. Didn't really had to take some time to myself, man. Just get my mental together, all that good stuff, man. Had to prioritize rest and things of that nature. Now we back dropping the content, back dropping the inspiration, the motivation, the knowledge, all that good stuff, man. Had to take some time off, man. Had to take some time off, man. What's the word? Zeke, peace. What's happening? Airview, peace. What's the word? How y'all living? How y'all feeling? Tamika, peace. What's happening? How y'all living? How y'all feeling? What's the word? How we living? How we feeling? Yeah, we prioritize me today, man. A lot of times we study in the red flags of other people, man, but we fail to study our own red flags. And I feel like, once again, that's a big problem with society, man. That's a big problem with society for sure. We always focusing on mastering everybody else, man, but we're not focusing on mastering itself. Justin, you say, do you recommend a 120 Lessons book by Supreme Law? I haven't personally read that book, so I don't have any input on that book. Normally, when somebody writes a book about the 120 lessons, though, we don't necessarily recommend it. I would have to do the knowledge to that particular book, though. Because normally the 120 lessons is not in book form. So if it's like a book talking about it, we don't know. Oh, yeah. You talking about the Wu-Tang show? Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, the 120, like, we typically pass that down. So there really isn't a book out here that contains them. So I have to do the knowledge to that particular book. Shaquille, peace. What's the word? What's the word? Tamika, you say you're doing pretty good. There we go. We want to keep that energy rolling. Want to keep that energy rolling. Give everybody about a minute or so, man, before we start diving into it, man. Self-mastery, man. That's how I'm feeling on this Monday, man. Self is Mastery Monday, man. That's kind of how I'm feeling. That's the energy that I want to pass around. But yeah, Justin, like I said, if you're interested in fully diving into the 120, man, you could definitely hit me up. I definitely went through that process. A lot of people don't make it through that process alive, man. It's a lot of memorization and building that goes on. So that process, it instills fear in a lot of people, especially when they get to like heavy degrees and you got to memorize these heavy degrees. But once you start doing them, man, you're going to utilize those degrees and the math and the alphabets, man. It's going to help you maneuver through life. I can tell you right now, the lessons and the alphabet and the math are definitely tools that help me maneuver and elevate throughout life. I can definitely vouch for that for sure. But that process wasn't the easiest, man, especially if you got other things going on, man. Just memorizing lessons and things of that nature, it can get a little tedious. It can get a little tedious for sure. It can definitely get a little tedious. But yeah, man, I feel like we got enough people in here, man. So we gonna start building, man. So the title of the video say, "What are your red flags?" Simple question. A lot of people know what to look for when it comes to red flags in other people and everybody else. But when you ask somebody about the red flags that they contain, a lot of times they choose to remain silent because a lot of times people fail to study themselves, fail to know themselves, fail to understand themselves, but they strive to understand and know everybody and everything around them. So that's the most important question that needs to be answered first and foremost. Forget the red flags to look out for when it comes to entertaining a potential partner or a spouse, things of that nature. Forget those red flags. you need to be able to first identify your own red flags. That's the first thing that we should be concerned about, man. That's the first thing that we should be focused on mastering. What are your red flags? Like personally, I'm asking all y'all that's tuned in. Have y'all done the evaluation, the self-assessment? What are some of y'all red flags? What are some of the red flags that you contain that you are working on currently? If you had to warn somebody about you, what would you say? That's the question. If you had to warn somebody about you in regards to things that they may have to deal with that comes with you that they may not necessarily be fond of, what would you tell them? What would you tell them? And I guarantee a lot of us, we gonna end up like we're gonna shortchange ourselves. We're gonna make ourselves seem better than what we are. A long list of flaws, man. I got a long list of red flags, man. But these are things that I'm working on, you know. So what are some of your red flags? If you had to warn somebody about you, what would you tell them to look out for? What would you tell them your red flags are? What would you tell them are some things that they probably gonna have to deal with for the first few years that you are currently working on that they may not be too fond of? What are some things that you would tell them? And let me get this thing freaking light in this mug, man. Frustrating me. I have to turn this thing around, man. All right, Kuma, you say overthinking. And you sure you think that that's your only red flag, Akuma? We gonna get real in the field. You think you only possess one red flag? And this is real self-assessment. So again, don't take any question too personal. But you think that Akuma, you think you only have literally one red flag. You think it's only one thing that you would warn somebody else in regards to potential red flags when it comes to you. You got one thing that you would warn somebody about in regards to you. And Justin, you say procrastination, overthinking. So you only got two red flags. So I'm gonna ask y'all questions. You know what I'm saying? If the list is not long, I'm gonna literally ask you, is that it? You know, so Justin, you think you only got two? You only got two red flags? I just want y'all to continue to ask yourself the question. So if it's only one red flag, if it's only two red flags, only three, I just want to make sure that you are 100% certain that those are the only red flags that you contain. Walker, peace, what's happening? Sweet Tea, CC, peace, what's the word? How y'all living? How y'all feeling? Let me go ahead. Hold up, y'all. Hold up. Yep, we back in action. Yeah, we back in action. We good. So we're gonna get to the bottom of it, man. Because again, like when I was studying to become a trainer, this is one thing that they told us to do. It's almost like therapy in this joint. Initially, when you ask somebody come to you with a weight loss goal, or somebody come to us with a weight loss goal, when we ask them what's the why do they want to lose the weight, they're gonna give us an initial reason, but it's always a reason that's deeper than the reason that they gave us. It's called the underlying reason as to why they want to lose weight. So a lot of times when you ask somebody what are their red flags or what are their flaws, initially they're gonna give us one or two, but whole while it's a long list of other flaws that they are suppressing that they may not even be mindful of. So sometimes that's why it's best for somebody on the outside looking in to let us know about ourselves. Because again, like I said, a lot of us gonna end up shortchanging ourselves, man. That's what we tend to do. TZ, peace, what's happening? Akuma, man, that's what I'm saying. That's a red flag because communication. If you get with somebody that they feel like talking more than you don't feel like talking, then you got a problem. So that's a potential red flag. That's what I'm saying. That's a red flag. You may not see it as a problem personally, but the person that you are entertaining may view it as a problem. So that could be a potential red flag. So what are some of y'all red flags out here, man? We got overthinking, we got procrastination, we got some days don't feel like talking, that's one of mine. It's just communication. That's how you sum that up. It's communication. I have my days where I just don't feel like talking. I have my moments where I just don't feel like talking, where I don't feel like communicating, that is a red flag to me. I can be at peace by not talking. But I know and understand that in dealing with other people in regards to like relationships, whether it's business, and like I said, or whether it's you entertaining your future spouse and those type of relationships, like either way, that can become a problem. Like that can be a problem. So a lot of times I have to get out of my comfort zone and I have to communicate or socialize when I don't necessarily want to. And that can impact my social skills, because a lot of times I'm trying to communicate when I don't want to. So that causes a problem. That messes up my communication. I'm not able, I don't articulate how I would like to articulate. I probably don't make as many points as I would like to make simply because I don't feel like talking. So it's plenty of things that I probably could have said that I wanted to say. I just did not say it because I didn't feel like talking at that moment. So that's how having my moments of not feeling like talking could affect me and impact my social skills in regards to relationships and things of that nature. But I want y'all to be honest, man. What are the red flags? If you had to warn somebody about you, what would you tell them? What would you tell them? CC for sure. Definitely. I definitely got that. I definitely can relate to that. Especially when the passion is involved. I can definitely relate to that. I can definitely feel that. To me, you say lack of focus and motivation, sometimes impatient. Man, impatience, like being impatient. I feel like I'm getting to the point where I'm mastering that, but I had a problem with that for the longest. But I feel like I've gotten a lot better in dealing with patience and just learning how to master the art and science of patience. But I used to wrestle with patience. I used to have a big problem with that. Now the only time where my patience is tested is when I'm like road rage and things like that, man. That becomes a problem. Like I don't really have much patience when I'm dealing with people on the road. And you say, Tamika, the lack of focus and motivation. So now we're going to get down. Okay. Love Pink, you say moody. Now I'm going to ask you all of you all that added the input in regards to y'all red flags. What are some things that you all are doing to turn these red flags into green flags or whatever the case may be? So what are some things that y'all are doing? So Tamika, you say impatient. What are some things that you are doing to work on your patience? Cece, what's some things that you are doing so you won't be as argumentative? Akuma, what are some things that you're doing about the overthinking process? Justin, what are some things that you're doing about procrastination? Like, what are some of the steps that y'all are following, or formulas that y'all are following to help you all with the red flags? Love Pink, you say, well, maybe not moody, but sensitive. And now what are some things that you are doing to help you with the sensitivity? You say not taking everything so personal. Hey, some things are meant to be taken personal, to be honest with you. To Rizzo Peach, my brother, what's happening? The underscore when you say procrastinating and fall into a yeah, I definitely relate to that. Now, what are some things that you are doing, my brother, to help you turn those things around? Because procrastination, I'm telling you, procrastination is a disease, man. I really do not like the fact that I procrastinate, but I just do it. And then I try to justify it by saying I work well under pressure. When that's nonsense, man. I can easily do the same quality of work by doing it ahead of time, but I will literally justify it, man. Just putting something off to the last minute and say I work well under pressure as my justification. Oh wow, I could have did this a week ago and still did the same quality of work. Procrastination is something that I suffer from terribly, and I've been working on that, man. Like procrastinating is not fun. Waiting to the last minute for something simple is not fun. It's like, man, why did I wait to the last minute to do this, man? I could have been did this, man. So now you jam packed trying to do everything, like getting work done on your car. You waited to the last minute to go get your oil changed. Now the day that you must go is one of the worst days to go. It's packed and it's taking you all day to get your oil changed when you could have got the oil changed a week ago and went right in and got right out. Things like that. I always suffer from procrastination. I always suffer. I always suffer, man. Always suffer. I'm like, why do I continue to put myself through this nonsense? Wait to the last minute, man. It's like everything that can go wrong at that last minute, it does. So you just creating a stressful inner environment for no reason. All because you just didn't feel like doing something, man. I can't stand it. Can't stand it, man. Cannot stand it. Because I'm telling you, everything that can go wrong in that last minute, it happens. It goes wrong. If you are a procrastinator, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Any thinking. Yeah, Justin, and that's something that helped me. Like I said, even the math that we got, that helps me put things into motion a lot sooner than I normally would. You know, like you said, you give me time to think about something, I'm gonna think about all the reasons why I don't need to do this right now. And that is part of the problem. So that's why if I know I need to do something now, I just do it. Because if I think, I'm gonna give myself all the reasons, like, man, I can just do this next week, man. It don't need to be done right now. It's not urgent. I will literally talk myself out of it. I will give myself a million reasons why I don't need to do it right now. A million reasons. So when it's something important that I know I need to do, I just do it. And then just keeping a planner, man, putting everything like on a calendar and whatnot, man, having to-do lists, like stuff like that kind of helps with procrastination, just putting yourself on a schedule, because it'll give you the ability to measure your procrastination. So if you give yourself daily and weekly goals and you see that you're not accomplishing anything, it's like it's due to that procrastination. So that kind of forces you to deal with your procrastination and face that procrastination. When you start to use a planner and put things on a calendar, now you have got to, you know what I'm saying, your word has got to be your bond at that point. If you put it on a calendar and say it's due by 7 p.m. on Tuesday, man, you got to get it done. You got to get it done. Tamika, what you say? I'm a caregiver for my mom, so it definitely forces me to take a step back and refocus and learn patience. I normally ground myself, talk to the universe when I feel it coming, and start again. There we go. And a lot of times, man, that's when we get hit with those lessons, man, those tests. So a lot of times, man, when we dealing with these flaws and these red flags internally, like a lot of times, man, we gonna receive these tests. We gonna receive these tests, man, to the point where it's like, all right, you got to deal with this situation, and this is a test for your patience. This is a test for your procrastination. But a lot of times, man, we be failing these tests out here, to be honest. A lot of times we be failing tests. So that's why you got to learn how to decipher when something is like a test, like when you are being tested. And it's literally you testing yourself. Like that's literally what's happening. You are testing you. Like you manifested that test due to the internal red flags. So you manifested that test. You acknowledge the fact that you are impatient. So when you continue to acknowledge the fact that you are impatient, then guess what your mind is going to do? Guess what's about to happen? You're about to manifest all type of situations and tests that is going to test that impatience, because you keep telling yourself that this is what you are. So you're going to manifest environments. You're going to manifest situations that reflect that. So you keep telling yourself you're impatient, you're going to manifest a lot of situations that's going to test your patience. You're going to manifest a lot of situations. If you keep telling yourself, I'm a procrastinator, you're going to continue to manifest situations that test your procrastination. You keep telling yourself you're an overthinker, you're going to continue to manifest that type of environment for yourself. It's all a test. And a lot of times we fail those tests because, again, we continue to tell ourselves what we are. So again, every time that you tell yourself you are an overthinker, every time that you tell yourself that you are impatient, again, your subconscious mind is not able to determine fact from fiction. So if you keep telling the mind that I'm impatient, I'm impatient, I'm impatient, and we're not doing anything to work on it, then you're going to accept that. That's why I tell everybody to be mindful of how you speak about yourself. That's why a lot of times I don't like to hear women, when they don't have on makeup, refer to themselves as ugly. Can't stand that, even if you joking or not. Like, I don't even care if you joking. Like, I don't like for you to tell yourself that, because subconsciously your mind is accepting that. So never refer to yourself as ugly, man, just because you don't have some makeup on and things of that nature. Don't do that. Do not tell yourself that, because your subconscious mind is not registering it as a joke. It's accepting that that's how you truly feel about yourself without makeup. So you don't even understand the damage that you are causing to yourself psychologically when you joke like that, because your subconscious mind is not registering it as a joke. Just peace. What's happening, Queen? What's the word? All right, love Pink. Would you say picking my battles? I don't know. I just in finding the line for healthy boundaries and respect without being considered. Hey, yeah. I mean, and then you also can't worry about how other people perceive you. At the end of the day, as long as you feel like you being true and authentic to yourself, you really can't worry about how other people perceive you. Because simply me focusing on my health is enough for people to think that I'm stuck up and think that I'm too good to be around them and things of that nature, because I don't eat what they eat and I don't think how they think. So that in and of itself leads to people mislabeling me. But I don't really care about all of that. So as long as you being authentic and true to yourself and you not harming other people, then who cares what they think? Who cares how they label you? Just you say you read that procrastination can come from being born early. I don't even know if I was born early, man. I'm gonna have to do the knowledge of that, but I have heard things along those lines. I don't know if I was born early or not. I never even asked. I don't even know. You say for some reason I have to understand why I do something to correct it. I still don't know why I procrastinate. Telling y'all, man, it's deep, man. When you start digging into yourself and when you start analyzing yourself and trying to figure out what your red flags are, and you try to get to the bottom of like why you do what you do in regards to these flaws, things that you know you shouldn't do, it gets deep. It gets deep. Like when you start asking yourself, man, why I procrastinate, man, it can get real in the field. Because like I said, for the most part, we just tend to try to justify why we do what we do. Even procrastination. It's almost like, going to school for marketing. You learn one thing about consumers. They buy off emotion and they justify with logic. So you're going to make an emotional purchase and you're going to justify with logic. We do the same thing with some of our flaws. We do the same thing with some of our flaws, whether it's acting emotionally, impulsively, illogically, just pure laziness, but then we justify it with logic. So all the flaws, all the red flags that we contain and possess, we try to justify them for the most part using logic. So that's how we cope with some of our red flags and flaws. Hence why some of us may not even think we have flaws and red flags, which is crazy. But some people do think that. Like some people think that they are perfect. Some people think they are the best thing smoking. Some people think that I don't understand why people don't want to talk to me because I'm perfect. No, no. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Chanel Peace, what's happening, Queen? What's the word? Oh, just yeah, rebelliousness. Yeah, and that's for the most part, that's where some of my procrastination is rooted from. Back in the day, when it came to school, like I ain't want to do some of the work that they asked for me to do. And I was just like, nah, man, I ain't about to I ain't doing this. I feel like this is stupid. I feel like it is pointless. So therefore I'm not doing it. I just wait till the last minute. I'm still gonna pass this class anyway. So a lot of my procrastination came from school. And then a lot of times procrastination stems from laziness as well. I ain't even gonna lie. Sometimes I'll put some stuff off simply because it's just being lazy. So it's all of that. Depends on the person pretty much. Kuma for sure, man. Especially when you know it's something simple. Like back in school, I can't tell you how many times I procrastinated on papers that I could have easily did the day I got it. The day I got the assignment, could have easily knocked it out. But I'm sitting over here waiting till the last minute. I got 2 weeks to do a paper that would have taken me 30 minutes to do right after I got the assignment. It's taking me 2 weeks to do it. Like that's just nonsense, man. It's unacceptable. Procrastination is a disease, and I've been trying to cure it for the longest. I'm tired of procrastinating. It's not necessarily cool, because I know I can be that much more efficient when I don't procrastinate, because I have done it for periods. I've not procrastinated for periods and I've gotten a lot more done, a lot more efficient when I don't procrastinate. Magic James for sure. Yeah, them daily affirmations are crucial. Yeah, them daily affirmations are crucial, man. Daily affirmations are crucial, man. Definitely in the morning and before you lay it down. Oh, Terenzo for sure. And that's why, and that's basically what I was alluding to by saying that we manifest these conditions. When we acknowledge these red flags and we continue to tell ourselves that we are this, that, and the third, we're gonna manifest conditions that reflect what it is that we are telling ourselves. So whatever your red flags are, when you continue to tell yourself you are that, you're gonna manifest conditions in your life that reflect that, which we can view that as a test. Can definitely view it as a test. All love pink for sure. You say, but you feel better too when you just get it out the way. Exactly. Exactly. The times that I didn't procrastinate and I just got things done, I felt that much better with my life. I don't like working under pressure like that, honestly, man. That's working way harder and not smarter, man. You got something that's due in 2 weeks, just do it, man. Just do it. Bonafide, what's happening? And that's right. That's how we justify it. That's how we just like. And again, this is when we play the blame game. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to our flaws, when it comes to red flags, we blame everybody else. We start blaming society around us. We start blaming everybody else for our flaws, for our conditions in life. When it's crazy, because at the end of the day, if you blaming another person, then that other person can blame somebody else. So, you know what I'm saying? We can always place blame on other people. We get that. You are the way that you are because of your upbringing. Now, what are you currently doing to resolve this issue? You have acknowledged the fact that you are the way that you are because of your upbringing. But now, what are you doing with that knowledge? So, if you have acknowledged that fact and you're not doing anything to change it around, now everything else after that is on you, because now you know where it stems from in your mind. You have created the reasoning. You have came up and manifested the reasoning. I am this way because of my childhood, my upbringing. Okay, now you have the reason. Now what are you doing? What are you doing to resolve it? And a lot of times the answer is absolutely nothing. We would just rather blame. We'd rather place the blame on everybody. Well, I'm this way because my mama was messed up. I'm this way because my pops was this, that, and the third. Okay, cool, but that don't mean you got to be like that. That don't mean you got to follow in their footsteps. That don't mean you have to raise your children the way you were raised. Like, so what are you doing so that you don't turn out like that? Or are you just about to sit around and complain and just blame everybody for your mental state? Like, we got to stop playing that blame game, man. Again, acknowledge where you feel like it stems from and then do something to solve the problem. So you should spend more time on a solution. Oh, Walker for sure, man. Like the anger, anxiety, isolation. Definitely, I could definitely relate to a lot of that, man. Just the anger, the rage, the frustration. And I just do like I strive to channel that angry energy in the proper direction. That's why I work out the way that I work out. Like that's why I, journal when I can. Like that's why I read a lot, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Like reading, it's like an escape sometimes you know, let alone the fact that I'm picking up some valuable jewels and knowledge, man, but it's like an escape. So that's why I get caught up in the books and whatnot, man. Reading is therapeutic for me. Reading is therapeutic, man. It's definitely therapeutic. Especially like, man, you just all the stuff that's out here to know, man. Just reading is real therapeutic for me. Reading has solved a lot of my problems. Like honestly, man, when I get caught up in reading, that's why I will always be a reader. That's why I will always have books. That's why I will always read. There will never be a point in time in my life where I'm not reading something. I'm gonna always be a reader because it is therapeutic. It has helped me in so many different ways. I'm always reading. I'm gonna always be reading something. The downtime I have, I'm gonna be striving to read a book. I'm gonna be striving to gain some information, some insight, some jewels, whatever the case may be. Always be reading because that is therapeutic. 100%. Hey, Just is out here trying to solve the procrastination problem. Just ain't playing. She didn't get Just is going in on trying to solve who is more likely to procrastinate and why we procrastinate. Just is out, she's on a mission to solve this particular problem. She about to tell us who is more likely to procrastinate and why we procrastinate now. She figured this out. She's figuring it out today. Oh, Tamika, hey, talk to yourself like someone you love. There you go. There you go, man. I was reading a book that had a similar quote. I forgot how the quote go verbatim, but it was something along those lines. It was something along those lines, man. And that's a jewel right there. That's something to live by. That's something that if you live by, it's gonna change your life. It's gonna lead to evolution and elevation and things along those lines. Oh yeah, yeah, just a 10-page paper, 2 hours before it's due. Been there, done that. Been there, done that. Zero piece, what's happening? Been there, done that. Yeah, magic, and that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of it stems from laziness, man. It's just a lot of different, depending on the person, and depending on the task. Walker for sure, man. Y'all see some of the heavy weights that I be lifting. You know, for those that follow me on like Instagram and things along those lines of Facebook. So that's one of the ways that I channel my energy, man. I lift some heavy weight. Like I do some like powerlifting and strength training. That helps me get a lot of that, like use a lot of that energy. A lot of that energy. Oh, Justin, for sure. There you go. There you go. To Renzo for sure with the breakdown. But yeah, Justin, there you go. Always, hey, challenging the brain, challenging the mind. That's one thing I talked about. One of the last streams I did, just challenging the mind. That's another good way to just channel that energy, man. Challenging the mind, challenging the brain, man. Again, that's that muscle. That's that muscle that a lot of us neglect, and we got to stop neglecting that muscle, man. Clocks in, peace, peace. What's happening? Bonafide, what you say? How can someone be confident in their new self-image that's not built on foundation of past trauma? I run into imposter syndrome and have to fight it a lot. Any tips would be great. Bonafide, when it comes to that, they say most diseases, the cause of most diseases, or the cause of a lot of diseases, revolve around unresolved conflicts. So the best thing that I can suggest in regards to the past trauma is, I don't want to say moving past it, but just learning to accept what happened to you in the past and the fact that you have survived it and you are here now to tell the story. So once you kind of accept what happened to you in the past, it happened, I survived it. Now that is enabling you or helping you to semi move forward. So just learning to accept what it is that happened to you in the past. You accept it, like this happened, it was messed up, it was traumatic, but I survived it. And I'm here to tell the story. And I'm here to help other people that may be going through something similar. So you got to be able to accept it. And that's how you resolve the conflict. So it's not something that you suppress, forget, ignore. You acknowledge that this happened. It was traumatic. It scarred me, but I survived. So that's just a testament of your strength. So that's one way to view that type of situation. And that will help you to pretty much embrace a new self-image. Like, man, I went through this traumatic experience as a child, but I came out stronger as a result. It did not kill me. And I'm still here to tell the story. And I'm able to help people that's coming up underneath me, that's dealing with what I went through, what I dealt with. So you got to accept the traumatic experiences from the past. That's the best advice that I could give for that, man. Because like I said, I've done a lot of things that could have been traumatizing to other people. Things along those lines, like just being verbally abusive. So it's like, okay, these things happen, but I'm not about to sit around regretting things that I said my entire life that I can't take back because those people are no longer here. It's like I got to accept that that happened. I was a hothead. How do I learn from that? So I did what I did. I said what I said. I can't take what I said back because some of those people are no longer here. Okay, what information, what wisdom can I pass down to the future generation when it comes to that? So I got a lot of jewels that I would pass down to the future generations in regards to being hot-headed, being angry as a youth. Like, watch what you say. Be mindful of what you say. Like, that's my advice. So I'm not about to sit around living with all of this regret. Like, man, I wish I wouldn't have said that. It's not going to do anything. It don't take away from the fact that I said it. I said it. I did it. I lived it. It affected the people who it affected. Now I got to accept that. I got to live with that. And I got to pass that wisdom down to the younger generation so that they won't do the same things that I did and won't be as hot-tempered and hot-headed as I was back in the day. Percy, my brother, appreciate that donation. You say, met a girl with 8 red flags. She says she need 4K a month, a new wedding every 5 years, new ring every 5. Wait, whoa. I ran away. Whoa. What? Whoa. Yeah, she needs to work on herself, man. Like, that sounds a little crazy, man. That sounds a little crazy. What is she needing all of that for? Like, I mean, that's a rhetorical question because I already know what somebody like that will be feeling like they need all of that for. A lot of that stems from an insecurity. There's no reason why you feel like you would need a 4K a month, a new wedding every 5 years, new ring every 5 years. Like, nah, that's ridiculous. That's stemming from some type of deep-rooted insecurity. Like, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Yeah, I'm glad you ran away. Nobody on the planet should deal with somebody that's requesting all of that, man. I'm sorry. I fool with my sisters, I fool with my queens and whatnot. But if you coming with those type of requests, like, that's ridiculous, man. I'm gonna need for you to step back and really reevaluate your life if you coming with those type of requests, because that's ridiculous. A new wedding every 5 years for what? I don't even like people like that to be having weddings every 5 years. Like, that don't even make any sense. We so materialistic that you would need a new ring every 5 years. Like, that's ridiculous, man. Those are some huge red flags with those requests, because those things don't have anything to do with health, like mental health and physical health. So she need all of this, and none of this has anything to do with the mental and physical health. So nah, we don't rock with a person that they coming with requests that don't have anything to do with the elevation of one's mind and one's body. Like, no, that's a negative. That's a negative. Oh, Lindell, man, I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people that fit that mold. One of my former managers, that's what he said. In his early years, man, he was chasing money, so he wasn't able to be in the lives of his children like he wanted to, and he semi regretted that, you know. And he had to focus on the big picture. Well, I was able to provide them with a life that they probably wouldn't have been able to get if I wasn't able to generate the income that I generated. So that was his way of accepting those actions from back in the day, chasing the money, or what they would say nowadays, chasing the bag. But I know a lot of people that have said something along those lines, man. They were just so focused on the money, and they neglected their health, and they neglected like their children, the lives of their children, and all that good stuff, man. They just neglected everything around them because they were so focused on generating a certain income, and their health had to suffer along the process. And man, it don't surprise me, man, when people start tapping in late to my streams, man. I already know how it go. I'm used to it now. Some people get notified instantly. Some people get notified 30 minutes in. Some people never get notified. Clocks in, man. Depending on the culture that you subscribe to, that 8 can mean a lot of different things. Where I come from, that means build and destroy. Build on the positive, destroy the negatives. Real simple. That's how I interpret the 8. Adding on and subtracting, man. We should always be dealing in mathematics like that. We should always be striving to add on what's positive to our lives, and we should be able to subtract what's negative. You know what I'm saying? Discard what's useless out here, man. And you add on what's useful. That is how we should always be operating. But a lot of times we don't do that. See, a lot of times we fill our minds with a lot of toxicity, a lot of nonsense. And that's occupying most of the space in our mind. So when it comes to the healthful information, we no longer have any room for it, because as Bruce Lee said, we don't want to empty the cup. So we'll rather fill our minds with a bunch of garbage, so that all the clean material, all the clean foods, it doesn't have any room. It can't occupy any space in our mind because all the garbage is occupying all the space. So you gotta empty the mind, man. We gotta empty the mind, get rid of that trash, get rid of that nonsense, and put some beneficial information and wisdom in that mind, and let that occupy space and time, man. Bonafide, see, there you go. It's always, we always got to acknowledge that truth. We must always do that. If we not honest with anybody else, we must always learn to be honest with ourselves. Man, you can lie to everybody else out here, although you may not like the type of energy you will receive if you do that. But you can lie to everybody out here, man, but you got to stop lying to yourself. We got to be honest with ourselves. We got to dig deep when it comes to ourselves. A lot of times, man, we be digging deep in regards to trying to figure out the lies of everybody else, but we don't dig that deep when it comes to ourselves. Like, we really be fascinated with why other people move the way that they move, why other people think the way that they think, but we not that fascinated with why we do what we do. And that's part of the problem too. We overly obsessed with why other people do what they do. We got to be overly obsessed with why we do what we do, so we can solve our own problems. Like, again, I'm at a point in life where I'm really not too much concerned about other people. It sounds selfish, but again, what's the first law of nature? Y'all know the first law of nature is self-preservation. So you always got to preserve self. You always got to preserve self, man. You always got to do it. You always got to do it. Like, how I'm gonna, like, I can't save anybody else if I don't save myself. If I go down, how I'm gonna save anybody else in the household? So I gotta preserve myself in order to save my family. You know, I mean, that's just common sense. So we gotta start preserving ourselves. We gotta start really doing the self work, and we tend to neglect it. We do external work. We working on everybody else. We want to solve everybody else's problem. Forget everybody else's problem. What are your problems? What do you need to solve personally? What do you need to solve internally? That's what's most important. And it will always be what's most important. So we just got to learn, hey, we got to be, again, people look at being selfish like it's something that's negative. Selfishness is not negative nor positive. Selfishness can be very beneficial. It can be very beneficial. And I feel like at times we all need to practice selfishness. There's a time and place to be selfless. There's a time and place to be selfish. Just got to learn when the time and place is. That's it. That's literally it. Black Nitro TV, peace. What's happening? Percy, appreciate that, my brother. Appreciate that. Black Nitro, your introspection for sure. Definitely got to do it, man. But like I said, a lot of people, man, they running from themselves, man. They running from themselves, man. You know what's crazy? That's why a lot of people, the sad part about it, the fact that a lot of people run from themselves is the reason why a lot of people are always in relationships. As crazy as that may sound, man, running from yourself, you're going to run to other people because you're afraid to deal with yourself, man. So a lot of people are in relationships for that reason. It's like the relationship is a distraction. So you're going to get with somebody that's just as toxic or more toxic than you. So that's going to help you cope with your toxicity. Like, I ain't that bad because look at this trash. Look how they treat me. They trash. So you can sit around, you can blame everybody else instead of dealing with your own toxic nature. So you about to go find yourself the most toxic person out here to be with so that you can feel better about your toxic nature. Like, that's what people are doing. Literally, people are out here doing that. People are out here doing that. As crazy as that may sound, it's people out here that they live in that type of life, man. That's why some people are attracting all these toxic men and women in their lives, man, because again, that's what they are, but they trying to run from it. So they going to find somebody that's a little bit worse than them. So then they could just blame that person. They could be like, well, the reason why I am the way that I am because of these dudes or these toxic dudes. Well, again, it's a reason why you are entertaining these toxic dudes. It's a reason why you are attracting these toxic dudes because you running from your own toxic nature. So you trying to find dudes that's worse than you so you can continue to blame them and not solve your own problems because you just going to blame them. You're going to be like, all right, man, the reason why I am the way that I am because these dudes ain't no good out here. So if you continue to blame these dudes that you continue to entertain that you attract into yourself, you're not going to do the self-work. You're not going to do the self-work because you don't feel like you have a problem. So that's why a lot of people jump from relationship to relationship because, again, they running from that toxic nature of themselves. And they trying to find people that's worse than them. And they just going to continue to blame. Every toxic dude, every toxic woman that they get with, that's another person to blame. See, I was with such and such and they treated me like this. Another toxic person to blame. Releasing the accountability. So it's a lot of people that are maneuvering just like that. A lot of people. It's a lot of people that they are maneuvering just like that. I'm telling you, you know the person. You may have been one of these people that jump from relationship to relationship, never giving yourself a chance to be by yourself, to yourself. You got to jump from relationship to relationship. It's a lot of different reasons for why people do that. But y'all know what I'm talking about. You'd have been in 4 or 5 relationships, man, and they lasted all 3 to 4 months. Hey, it's time to chill for a second. Chill for a second, man. Chill out for a second and deal with yourself. Like, why do you keep doing this? Why do you keep jumping from one relationship to the next and they all last in the same length of time? What's the problem? Maybe you need to calm down, focus on yourself. Maybe all of these relationships are a distraction from something bigger. And that something bigger is yourself and the work that needs to be done internally. But now we're going to distract ourselves by jumping into another relationship because we are afraid to be what? Alone. A lot of us are afraid to be alone. A lot of us are afraid to be alone, but then you get in a relationship to where you alone anyway. You know, and that's the sad part. Oh yeah, Bonafide, man. I never really pay too much attention, man, to somebody when they tell you that you being self-centered when you really trying to do some self-work. Because how else can you do self-work if it's not self-centered? If you're not self-centered, how can you do the work on yourself? So it has to be self-centered. You have to place yourself in the center to do the self-work. So that's part of it. Like that's a requirement in order for you to do self-work. Got to be self-centered. You know, so that's part of how that works. That's part of how that works. Love Pink, appreciate the donation. Oh man, we always got to keep it honest. But like I said, man, I got to be honest with myself before I'm honest with everybody else. Hence why I had to take some time off, like 2 days. May not seem like a lot to y'all, man, but y'all know the frequency in which I stream. I had to take the weekend and regroup, man. Like mentally, man, I was getting drained, so I had to just recharge, man, regroup. I still got to regroup, honestly, man. I didn't really accomplish that how I wanted to accomplish that, you know, but I just got to get back. It's some things that I have been inconsistent in doing that helps with the mental. Haven't been doing them, like journaling, meditating, affirmations, just be inconsistent. So that's one of my red flags in regards to self. I don't care how anybody else perceives it. When I talk about my red flags, I'm talking about things that are harmful to me, things that are causing me to not grow at the rate in which I want to grow. So I'm not really worrying about my red flags and how they affect another person. I worry about my red flags and how they are impacting me. When I worry about them in that light, that's more so forcing me to change. Because if I look at my red flags and I compare them to how they affect and impact other people, then I'm going to just justify it. I'm going to just find a fault in other people. Communication, for instance. You know, I have my moments where I don't feel like talking. When I look at it in a light of how does that impact other people, then I just say things like, man, people just need to learn how to embrace silence. That's me justifying the lack of communication. But then when I take that and say, well, how does that impact me? It causes me to suppress a lot of feelings and emotions, and that's detrimental to my health. So that's the difference. So when I look at it in the light of how my red flags impact other people, I'm going to just justify it. I'm going to just find a fault in other people and say, well, they just need to learn how to be quiet. They just need to learn how to embrace silence. There's nothing wrong with me not feeling like talking. But then when I say, all right, forget the other people and how it impacts them, how does this impact me? Then that's when I start working on solutions and manifesting solutions. That's how you got to go about it. How do your red flags impact you? How are your red flags detrimental to you as a person? So inconsistency is something I've been dealing with, man. It's things that I know for a fact will help me out. And it's just like I'm so inconsistent in regards to doing some of these things. So it's like, man, I got to get back on track. Like I have to get back to just detoxing, man, and just fasting from certain things. Like I got to get back on that type of vibe and frequency, man. So I feel myself, you know how it is when you feel yourself slipping. When you really in tune with yourself, man, you're going to feel yourself slipping, man. When you feel yourself slipping into some of those bad habits, those bad mental habits that you work so hard to like change and turn around, when you feel yourself slipping, man, you got to just stop. Got to stop. Stillness is what they call it. If you're talking to my Buddhist peoples, you got to learn, you got to stop, be still. You know how when you're talking to that child, when you see that child so active, you telling them to be still. Like that's what you got to do. You feel yourself slipping, be still. Like, hold on, man. Like I feel myself slipping. I'm backtracking instead of going forward. All right, I gotta regroup. I gotta regroup. And a lot of times, man, that's what essentially happens to me, man. I just feel myself slipping. I feel it. And that comes with being in tune. I feel it like, man, I'm slipping. Like my energy level is different. Like I'm getting agitated real quick. I'm getting irritated like rather easily. So something is off. I'm imbalanced, man. Something is off. Let me get really in tune to figure out what's the problem. And it comes down, last time I did that, it's inconsistency. It's just being inconsistent. So that's what I came up with when I did the introspection the last time. Here recently, it's like, man, I'm real inconsistent in regards to things that I should be doing on a day-to-day basis that help the mental. Shantae, for sure. And that's exactly what I was saying in the title of this video. You mastering yourself is mastering life outside of self. So when you learn how to decipher the red flags within yourself, and then you start mastering those flaws within self, then you're going to be that much more hip in regards to analyzing the red flags of other people. And then you would be more helpful in regards to educating them on how to go about solving those issues and those flaws. So it always starts with self. Always, man. Always starts with self. Always. Always, man. We got to always start with self. Black Nitro for sure. Like your first partner, like is yourself. Kansu, peace, what's happening? Yeah, Denise, man. That's pretty much what it probably boils down to, man, because I'm always working. But I mean, I don't necessarily view it as work because I pretty much like what I do. But man, it's just the things that I need to do on a day-to-day basis, man, that just help elevate the health. It's like, man, for some reason, I know I ain't the only one that deal with inconsistency. Like for some reason, some things I just will not do it, even though I know I need to do it. You know, like meditate, man, I can meditate literally 5 minutes a day. You know what I'm saying? It's all you need. It's like for some reason, some days I just will not do it. You know, I just will not sit and breathe. Like, nah. You know, but that's something that helps me, man. Every time that I do it, I notice how my health improves. So I know that it's a practice that helps me. It's like, man, some days I just like, all right, man, I ain't gonna even do it. Nick, peace, what's happening? Shooter Cade. I ain't even say peace to Shooter Cade, but Shooter Cade, peace, what's happening? Black Nitro, you say being an introvert is overrated? Man, I don't know about that one, man. We might have to agree to disagree with that. I don't think it's necessarily overrated because I don't feel like a lot of us really overrated. If anything, we are condemned. We are condemned for being introverts. They have made being an introvert something that's abnormal. So in order for it to even be overrated in the first place, a lot of us have to rate it highly. The only time, for the most part, you hear introverts bragging about being an introvert is in response to people making it seem like we abnormal for being this way. So the only time where we really talk about being introverted in a positive light is in response to the people that make it out to be something negative. So I don't necessarily feel like being an introvert is overrated. Like I don't feel like being an introvert is overrated, negative, positive, good, bad, none of that. Like it is what it is what it is. Some people are just introverts. Some people are extroverts. Some people are ambiverts. Like some people are just that's something that you just are. You know, that's something that you just are. But I don't think it's overrated. I don't think it's underrated. I don't think it's underappreciated. I don't think it's any of that. I just feel like a lot of people talk bad about it though, and they try to make you feel bad because that's how you are. And so a lot of times you have to defend being an introvert. But that's the only time that I really hear about people praising being an introvert is in response to the people that talk about it negatively. Percy, my brother, appreciate that donation again. You say, speaking of being selfish, monks go and live in a monastery to get themselves together in order to come back and give back. Called being selfish going monk. Percy, I'm telling you, if y'all don't know my history, y'all know that I have studied a lot of monks. Like if, listen, if I was about cutting my hair and things like that, I would be a monk in that sense. Literally, I can create my own version of monkhood. Don't have to go through them to do it. But when I was studying that tradition, when I was studying what they had to do to become monks and things like that, I was like, man, I would love to do. I mean, the discipline that is instilled in one, instilled in a monk during that process is crazy. Like things they have to do to become that, crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, that's something that I would aspire to do. Now, of course, like I said, I create my own version of it, but that definitely helps with like discipline, man. I've studied monks for a long time, man, and they have some crazy discipline just due to the type of studying and whatnot that they have to undergo, man. It's crazy. Much respect to the monks for sure. Like they have to make some extreme sacrifices, man. If you haven't studied monks, please go study them. If you have, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know the sacrifices that they make. I'm talking about some things that we couldn't fathom agreeing to. Like I got to refrain from what now? Never. You know, that's some of the things, those are some of the things that the monks have to refrain from. And it's crazy. Lindell, for sure, you said a lot of people in society just have that license party mentality. For sure. For sure. And sometimes that mentality can be cool, but some people don't know when to turn that mentality off. I'm saying a lot of people, I'm saying you have fun, have a good time, this, that, and the third, but some people don't know when to turn that off. Life is not a party all the time. So some people don't know how to turn that mentality off. And that's when it becomes a problem. We have enough people, and the thing of it is, a lot of people say the same thing about those of us that choose to remain serious. And a lot of people say, well, you always serious. Thing of it is, we got way more people on this planet that don't take life serious, opposed to the people that do take life serious. Way more. We are the minority. Those of us that take life seriously. We got way more than enough jokesters. Way more than enough people who don't take life seriously. Way more than enough. So I don't need to add on to that. We don't have enough people who take things seriously, and that's part of the problem. Oh, Denise, man, anxiety is real in the field. It's real in the field. It's real in the field, man. It's real in the field. The anxiety is real in the field by definition of what anxiety is. It's real in the field, man. Definitely, a lot of people suffer from anxiety for a lot of different reasons. And then when this whole pandemic hit, that just made everything worse. That just made everything worse. Oh, Denise, for sure. Yeah, definitely misunderstood. I for the most part, I always feel like that, just being misunderstood and things of that nature. Always. And sometimes it could partially be my fault for being misunderstood, because then that's the crazy thing about being an introvert. So it depends on the day and time that you ask me a question about myself. So sometimes I may not give you the best response if you catch me on one of those days or at one of those times where I really don't feel like expressing myself. So then it's like now I created the condition to be misunderstood. But sometimes, like even when you thoroughly express yourself, people still misunderstand you. And a lot of these problems that we face in today's time stems from misunderstanding. Like literally, a lot of problems that we face in today's time, man, stems from misunderstanding. Stems from misunderstanding and attachment. Like those two things, man. You either was misunderstood or you attached to something, or both. Rodney, man, appreciate that, my brother. Oh, Shadell, man, I'm telling you, whew, yeah, I don't know how big participation points were, but man, that was like my worst nightmare when I was in college for the most part. Those participation points, I was like, man, you really about to have 60% of this grade revolve around participating? And that may sound simple. You know what I'm saying? When I bring that up to the average person, they'd be like, dude, all you got to do is participate. That's 60% of your grade. They not understanding the introvert. I'm like, the last thing an introvert wants to do is raise his or her hand and participate in class. I'd rather sit there, doze off, pass the test, pass the class. I never like participate. I'm like, dude, I really don't feel like answering these questions. Just tell us what we need to know. Let me walk out of here. Like I was always annoyed by participating in school. So the way I had to cope with that in college, where I would answer like the first three questions, call it a night. I would say anything, man. I don't care if I don't know what I would say half the time. Whatever the three questions were, whenever the first three times or the first three opportunities presented themselves to participate, I took them. If we had to do a presentation, I volunteered first. I just got the stuff out the way. Because if we doing presentations and I'm in the school setting and I'm watching everybody else go, telling y'all, man, you talk about anxiety, like nah, like I can't sit there and watch everybody else do their presentation, then I go last. No. So the way I was combating being an introvert, I'm like, let me just go first, get it out the way. I go up there and say whatever I want to say, because that way you can't necessarily blame me because I went first. I didn't know what the criteria was. I just went first. So a lot of times, man, that's how I went about it. I get a good grade just for volunteering to go first. So I had to master that, man, because if I sat around and I waited, like, nah, man, that anxiety was eating me alive. Oh, I'm telling y'all, man, I'll say anything. I don't care what the answer is. Like, for the most part, I might give you a right answer, but man, I'm just gonna say anything. I'm just gonna say something. Like, yep, there it is. Answer A. I don't care what I'm saying. I'm saying something just to say I participated, and then I literally doze off. Yeah, Tamika, man, I thought I was the only one, man. I can't stand, and it might be harmless, but I don't really like introducing myself. I just find that I don't like that process. Like I don't like that like as an adult, I really don't like that process. And I'm talking about introducing yourself in a sense of you have to tell people about yourself. Like I really don't I never really feel like doing that. Like I don't know about y'all, man, but again, part of being socially awkward and being an introvert, one of the reasons why I cannot succeed in corporate America, one of the reasons why I don't like corporate America is because I'm not a good interview type of person. I hate interviews. Hate them. Hate them with a passion. If I got to go in an interview, like I'm instantly irritated because I know the questions that they are about to ask me. And for the most part, I do not feel like answering these questions. I am not the best person when it comes to doing interviews. Can't stand interviews. Not the best interview person. Not the best. Denise, yeah, I was a rapper back in the day. But I wasn't a rapper in the sense of doing a lot of performing though. Hence why I'm probably not doing it now. MC, peace, what's happening? Man, Tamika, I'm telling y'all, man, I like, and it was harmless, but I just had to do that yesterday, man. I had to introduce myself to a group of people, man. They wanted to know my backstory, like they want to know a little bit about myself, man. I left out so much. Man, I left out so many details, and what I told them is crazy. Like I could have went in depth, but I left out so many details because I did not feel like doing it. I was like, man, I don't feel like telling another, like I just don't feel like doing this. So I left out so many details, man. Left out so many details. It was crazy. I can't stand doing it. I cannot stand doing that. Can't stand it. You know, and those are things that I've been working on. But I just getting over the fact that I can't stand it, because that impacts my response. The fact that I know I can't stand it messes up my response, man. So I've been working on that type of stuff. But little stuff like that, man, I can't stand it. Like, especially when I would go on an interview and I'm like in the back of my mind, I'm like, every question that you asking me was on my resume. Did you not read the resume nor the application that I filled out? Like, that always used to irritate me. Everything that you asking me is right there on my resume, right there in the application. I literally was typing out responses on this application, and you are asking me the same exact questions. Like, type of stuff used to irritate me and bother me, man. I was like, this is pointless. Oh, Chanel, now that's crazy that the professor didn't understand that. Terenzo, there you go. My name's Bud, and I'm out. Basically, how I used to function. My name is Ebel, and I went to such and such high school, went to such and such college, and I now do such and such. I'm gone. Like, that's it. That's my introduction. Oh, shout to the wrong. Yeah, I'm the king. I'm the king giving the wrong answer because I don't even care. Long as I participated, I'm good. Man, Percy, I'm telling y'all, man. A lot of people back when I was in high school, a lot of people, man, they caught, like, I done been labeled as weird, like, for the most part. Or now it was like people labeled me weird back then. Now they just say you were different. Like, now that's what they say. But back then, like, they like, man, dude weird. Like, dude don't be talking, dude don't be saying much, and this, that, and the third. So back then, like, when I was in high school and stuff, man, they just labeled it weird. They wasn't understanding it. Now they just be like, okay, you was just different. But appreciate that donation, by the way. But yeah, man, a lot of people would assume that I'm not socially awkward simply because of my line of work. Like, I'm a trainer. So it's like when I tell people about being an introvert, when I tell people about being socially awkward, people be like, well, dag, man, how you a trainer? See, it's crazy. And I was gonna do a video about that. It's like when you feel like when your purpose in life is in conflict with your personality type, how do you go about that? Because I feel like that's who I am. That's how I am as a person. I feel like everything that I'm like designed to do in life, everything that I must do in life, it goes against my personality type, which I feel like is the test. Like, literally, I feel like that's the test. Like, I'm into fitness, love fitness, but in order for me to exceed and excel in fitness, I have to deal with whom? People. I have to learn how to communicate. I can't be as socially awkward. And even what's crazy is what this is the funny thing about me as a trainer. What's crazy is now I done weeded out all, you know what I'm saying? I done been in business for a minute now. So I done weeded out all the people that I don't connect with. But it's crazy that most of the people that I train that have been consistent and that have been with me for day one, we all have the same views in regards to people. Like, we don't too much care for people. We don't be wanting to talk. So we all be connected on that vibe. So it's like I trained a bunch of people that are introverts, that don't too much care for people, that may be loners, that say they don't rock with a lot of people. That's crazy how that works out. So I'm able to connect with these people because we are connecting on that level. So it's crazy. Like, that's what's crazy, man. I ended up, my clientele is a reflection of my personality type, man. Dudes, people that don't want to fool people, people that communication might be just as bad as mine. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy the type of stuff you manifest, man. It's crazy. But I literally feel like, you know, my purpose, a lot of times they tell you to try to find a field to work in that correlates with your personality type. So for me, that would be being behind scenes, not on camera, more so writing and typing and things like that. Now y'all see me, obviously. I'm on YouTube streaming. I have to train people. So it's like I did the total opposite. Like, the things that I'm doing as a career path or whatever, it is in total opposition to my personality type. I would much rather do the things behind the scenes, but I don't feel like that's my purpose to do these things behind the scenes. And that's the crazy part about my life. All the things that I'm doing right now, I fool with what I'm doing, but I don't like the way that I have to do it. You know, I'd much rather type than, you know, stream frequently. I'd much rather type, much rather do that. I'd much rather train people online than have to go somewhere physically and train the people. But I just feel like this is what I got to do. And that's crazy. Yeah, Walker, man. Are you? Yeah, man. I'm telling you, literally got a purpose that's forcing us to face the fears, man. Every day. Like to me, yeah, to me that's how that's how I be too. That's how I be. That's crazy. Consul, peace, my brother. Appreciate you tapping in. Appreciate you tapping in. Bonafide, there it is. See, that's what I'm saying. Exactly what I'm saying. Say exactly what I'm saying. It's just crazy, man. It's crazy how our purpose is at war with our personality type. Crazy. It's crazy how life kind of forces you to face your fears, man. I could have easily ran for it. I could have easily found a field that placed me in a comfort zone. Like I said, behind the scenes, not having to deal with a lot of people, but I wouldn't have felt fulfilled doing that. I know for a fact I wouldn't have felt fulfilled being behind the scenes. I would have been comfortable, but I wouldn't have been fulfilled, if that makes any sense. So I could have easily found some things to do that would allow me to be behind the scenes, earn a living, and things of that nature. But I would not have been fulfilled. I would have just been comfortable and content. But I would have felt like my life didn't have any meaning and substance behind it. You know, so I literally had to get out of my comfort zone. Literally. Like life literally has made me get out of my comfort zone in regards to things that I feel like I must do in life. See, Denise, it seems like so Denise, so we all dealing with that. So we all dealing with that in a sense. We all dealing with this. Yeah, see, I'm telling you, man, I'm telling y'all don't understand. Y'all do not understand the level of anxiety. Every time before I stream, y'all don't understand. Like, man, I fool with y'all in this chat. I fool with y'all 100%, but I really don't be wanting to talk, man. Like, y'all don't be understanding, man. I be having to listen. I be having to just get myself amped to do it, man. Y'all really. Some of y'all may understand, man, but it's real in the field. Like, I just be feeling like I gotta do it, but I don't be wanting to do it, man. I'm be 100% honest with y'all, man. Be 100%, and sometimes that's why I do it so often. See, that's another reason. Like people, like if you realize, obviously, if you followed me, you subscribed to me for a long period of time, you will find out that, man, look, I will stream often. I will stream a lot, and I feel like one of the reasons that I do that is to just kind of overcome that anxiety. It's like the more I do it, like the more comfortable I am doing it. If I hold it off, then I'm more than likely gonna start procrastinating. You know, if I take a break from streaming, it's like, man, I'm liable to not do it. Like, all right, man, I'm comfortable, I'm good. I ain't have to talk for 2 or 3 days. We're gonna make it a fourth day. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm wired. So it's like that's one of the reasons why you will always look up and probably see me streaming. Because it's like the more I do it, the more comfortable I am doing it. So that's why I have to do it so often. But man, I'm telling you, every time before I do it, man, it's like I do not want to do it. Do not want to do it. That's probably why the first 10, 15 minutes of me talking be rough. Because I gotta get warmed up, man. Like I gotta literally get warmed up. If anybody has watched the whole entire video, man, it probably take me 30 minutes to like get warmed up, to really start feeling what it is that I'm saying. Because the first 15 minutes, man, I don't feel like doing it. I'm like, man, I don't feel like talking. Just really don't feel like doing this, man. But I'm kind of forcing myself. Then once I get warmed up, everything is good. Everything flows smoothly. Shantae, for sure, 100%. Love Pink, for sure. You say that the opposite adds another layer of perception and knowledge too by doing what you wouldn't usually And now having that experience to validate and add to what you already know or thought you do 100%. 100% right and exact. 100%. Walker, you say I was in the field of electrical engineering, but it didn't do it for me, which drove me back to my passion and purpose. Hence, now it's just me versus me. See, well, there we go. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, it's me versus me. That's literally what it is, man. It's me versus me. Literally. Oh, Denise, 100%, man. I've had, like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I literally had a client that she basically, I felt like she was thanking me for saving her life, because she honestly was just like, due to the pandemic, and she, you know what I'm saying, she one of the ones that, she basically stopped going places because of the pandemic, because, you know what I'm saying, she don't want to fool with people, she afraid of the virus, this, that, and the third. So she just stayed put. She was like, man, you don't know what working out has done for my mental health and my sanity. So it was like, you know what I'm saying, that's crazy. But me being the person that I am, I don't do too well to compliments. I'm just like, you know what, do another set of squats. Like, I don't be trying to hear that. But you know what I'm saying? But she came out and she said that. So I was like, man, this might be saving lives out here, man. The fact that people got somewhere to go to work out, and they actually probably, especially women, they able to train with a guy that ain't a creep and stuff like that. They, you know what I'm saying? Like, little stuff like that, like, they appreciate. So I done had people tell me that. Oh, Tamika, for sure. Oh, man. Host calls for, oh, man, Tamika might be the reason why I'm finna log out of this joint. The hosting calls for work, that was like my biggest fear. That's when I was working at the bank, man. When that phone would ring, I would literally try to find a reason not to answer the phone. So I would act busy and hope somebody else pick up the phone. I could not stand answering the phone when I worked at the bank. I would find every man. Listen, I would act like I'm doing a transaction. It ain't nobody in this bank, nobody in the drive-thru. I literally act like I'm fixing a transaction the last transaction that I did, or it's the first. Like, I act like I'm fixing a transaction from yesterday. Man, I just try to find every reason in the book not to answer that phone. I could not stand answering phones, hosting calls. Nah, my good. You talk about anxiety levels through the roof. Nah, that used to kill. Like, you would think working in a bank, dealing with all the money, that wasn't the problem. It was answering the phone for me. Man, I don't know what it is about the phone, man. That phone does something to me to where I despise the phone. I don't know why I'm so traumatized by phones and talking on the phone, but I am. Zero, you say, are you ever content, happy? Zero, I did a stream about that back in the day. I don't necessarily strive for happiness. Now, when somebody says something is overrated, being an introvert is overrated, I feel like happiness is something that's overrated because it's not permanent. So we're gonna have moments in life where we happy. We're gonna have moments in life where we sad, things along those lines. I more so strive for balance, strive to be at peace. Like, that's what I strive for. And I feel like for the most part, man, it don't take me nothing to activate that state of peace, but I'm trying to be more consistent. I'm striving to be more consistent with it. But happiness, man, that's something you have that emotion pretty much every day. You're gonna have moments where you happy, you're gonna have moments where you're sad, moments where you're frustrated, moments where you're angry. That stuff fluctuates. Oh, Denise, for sure. I'm about to get back to my shorter videos, and I'm gonna introduce something to y'all. I'm gonna introduce something to y'all though. Oh yeah, man, Dean. I'm telling you. And I'm not lying. I will pull money out that drawer, start counting for no reason. That phone rang. I'm finding every reason not to answer that phone, man. I am not answering the phone. Not answering it. I do not want to talk to these people. Or they messed up when they told me I could just start directing people to customer service. Oh, they told me that it was a wrap. I wouldn't even answer the phone. I'll pick that joint up, dial the extension to customer service, boom, there you go. Man, I'm like, man, y'all shouldn't have told me that. Everybody going to customer service. And Walker, and that's the problem. I never had a good professional white voice. Like, I never had it. The way y'all hear me talking now is the way I used to talk on the phone. Man, they did. The last bank I was at, they recorded our phone calls. And man, when I tell y'all that was terrible. That was tragic. I was talking to them people on the phone like I was talking to the homeboy from 10 years ago. I wasn't cut out for it, man. I'm just not cut out for corporate America, man. I'm not cut out for it, man. Like, I'm just not cut out for it. Like, I'm a typical black guy. Like, I'm just, this is how I'm gonna talk. This is what you gonna get. I don't know any other way to present it. It don't work. So when they started recording our phones, man, they had to take us into the office so we can listen to them. And y'all know I don't like listening to myself. So I'm like, man, this is already awkward enough. And then I'm like, man, I was talking to him, man, like this, the homeboy off the street 10, 15 years ago. It was crazy. It was crazy. Like, y'all don't want to listen. If they got, that'll probably be the funniest thing y'all ever heard. If they got some footage of me talking on the phone somewhere, like at the bank where I worked at, man, y'all probably get a kick out of how I talked on the phone. But that's why I was so well respected too, though. That's why a lot of people fooled with me at the banks where I worked, because I was talking to them like I wasn't putting on no front. I was talking to them like they was the straight homie. And so a lot of people was asking where I was at. They'd call and they'd want to speak to me because I'm saying, they felt like they weren't talking to a robot. They felt like it was talking to an actual person. Cause I get on the phone, man, listen, I ain't even about to tell y'all some of the stuff that I was saying, man. I ain't even about to incriminate myself like that. But once they start recording the phone calls, you would have thought when they let us know, okay, phone calls about to be recorded, you would have thought that would have caused me to change it. Nope, no sir. No sir. It was horrible, man. So that's why I got to get out the game. I'm gonna end up getting fired anyway. Cause I'm liable to tell somebody anything, man. I'm liable to tell somebody we'll waive a fee knowing we won't waive it, man. I'm liable to tell you anything on this phone, man, just to get you off the phone, to shut you up. I'm liable to tell you anything. I'm the wrong person to talk to on that phone at a job because I'm trying to get you off this phone. So whatever your problem is, I'm gonna tell you we'll solve it, and we probably can't even solve it. I'm like, man, hey, you mad about the fee? We'll waive it. We'll reverse it. Come on up here. Man, MC, listen, y'all speaking my language. Y'all, if I was in your field, that's who I would be. Oh, Wayne, yeah, for sure, man. Everybody loved to hear. Everybody. Yeah, Terenzo, for sure. Definitely a psychological deception. I don't know how I be sounding. I sound how I sound now, though. I just know that. I know that for a fact. Exactly how y'all hear me talking right now is exactly how I used to talk on the phones at the bank. No change in tone. It was all the same. Oh, Zeke, man, I can imagine. I can imagine 100%. Walker, man, I'm telling y'all, man, the stuff that I did working. I'm telling y'all, I had to fire myself from the bank before I was like, I ain't got time for it, man. I'm for the people. I feel like the bank's ripping you off anyway, so I'm like, man, you don't need to get this fee. You know what I'm saying? So when people call it venting about the bank, man, I feel them. I'm like, man, I feel you. This is weak and wicked. Let me go ahead and reverse this fee for you. They shouldn't be charging you this fee anyway. Like, I literally be going in about the bank on the phone. Like, nah, man, we shouldn't be charging you no fee anyway. That's crazy. You've been a member with us for 5 years. Let me go ahead and reverse that fee for you. I got you. And I ain't got time for it, man. So I was like, let me go ahead and get out the game for these folks start really listening to what it is I'm telling people, and they get hip to what I'm doing. Let me get out the game. Let me get out the game, man. It wasn't like I was stealing money. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't stealing money. Drawer wasn't coming up short. But man, if somebody get cashier's check, you know what I'm saying, every month or so, and we charging $10 for a fee, I feel like, man, they should be able to get that fee waived a few times, you know? So I was doing little stuff like that. Yeah, Denise, Denise, you would not have been a fan of your boy. You would have been listening to him. You would have listened to my calls and been like, what is he talking about? You would have been like, he's good with people. People love him, but he ain't following company policy. I mean, we used to have to literally read a script when we answered the phone, letting them know y'all didn't call when they got to let you know that this phone call is being recorded, monitored for quality assurance, whatever the freaking script is, man. I used to halfway say that script. I'm like, man, who wants to hear that before? Like, I don't feel like saying all of this. I already don't feel like answering this phone. So now I got to repeat this script. Nah. Like, once they added that stipulation, man, I was gone. Yeah, I was gone. I was gone. I had to go. I'm like, man, every time I answer this phone, you mean to tell me I gotta say this phone call has been this phone call is being recorded for quality assurance? Like, nah, man, no, nope. Y'all should already have that. Like, y'all should have a pre-recorded voice that's letting them know that. I shouldn't have to repeat that every time I pick up this phone. Nope. As much as that phone was ringing at the last place where I was at, I'm not gonna keep saying that. This phone call is recorded. Hey, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, stuff like that, man. Anybody got time for that? Walker, hey, we might be we might be neck and neck, man. Cause we might be neck and neck. Dean, you know that's where my roots from. You know that's where my people from, Mississippi. That's crazy. You had the bill collector tone. That's kind of crazy. Shooter K, peace. Appreciate you tapping in. Go handle your business. No, for sure. You say no, you don't want to open that type of account and try. I told people that. I'd have told people that when people come in there trying to open up CDs and stuff like that, I'd be like, nah, man, the interest rate on there is trash. Like, you know what I'm saying? They'll start asking about the interest rate in regards to CDs and savings accounts. I'll be flat like, man, it ain't no. I'm like, nah, it's trash, man. Your money really ain't gonna do nothing if you. I used to be straight honest with them. Because they asked, like, man, if I put my money in this CD or if I put my money in a savings account, how long would it? I'm like, man, honestly, it ain't gonna be that much. So I literally have done that. I literally have said some things were trash. Hey, it is what it is. At least I was honest though. That's one thing, you know what I'm saying? I was honest. It was trash. I mean, you know, them savings accounts, man, your money ain't growing. Yeah, it's trash. The interest rate on the savings account, trash. CD, trash. I'm like, you know, you might as well not do this. You might as well learn to invest. If you got all this money to play around with, invest. Putting it in this savings account is not going to lead to anything significant. MC, man, there you go. There you go. And that's where I'm at with it now. That's where I'm at with it now, man. I honestly should do a video. It's a lot of people that have different views toward all of that. Like, people, you got cash is king. You got people that's real big on credit. Like, it's all a game at the end of the day when we talking about money, when we talking about income, when we talk about revenue. But I always found those two arguments like funny because I've studied both sides. The people that say cash is king and the people that's really big on credit, spending other people's money. Things like that is what they call it. You know, so I've studied both sides. But y'all, man, with that being said, man, I didn't got my points off, man. But what I wanted to introduce to y'all before I signed off for the day, I'm about to probably around November-ish, the B-Day. Y'all know the B-Day is November 13th and whatnot. So that's coming up soon. So I'm about to really start getting a little more organized in what I do here. So I'm about to start taking on the podcast format. And I'm gonna start doing a lot more presentations. So I'm about to really start breaking down a lot of thorough topics in presentation form, in podcast form. I will let you all know the name of the podcast when it gets finalized. I get logos and things of that nature because, you know, people like to steal. So I'm not going to let y'all know the name of the actual podcast. But I'm going to probably more than likely start the podcast format up November-ish. First episode might be on the B-Day. So I will probably be doing it like 2 times a week, and you will see a lot more of the shorter videos. But the streams are going to be that much more impactful because we about to do a lot of presentations, man. We about to really start bringing a lot of this information to the table. We about to start bringing a lot of knowledge to the table. That is how we are about to move. Like I said, I've been sitting on a lot of information. I haven't revealed it because I was waiting. And what I'm waiting for, or what I was waiting for, is this. So now I can put it in podcast format, and now we can really focus on taking over. And y'all already know the subject matter that I tend to deal with. That's going to be, those are what the presentations are going to revolve around. A lot of the topics that y'all know that I deal with, whether it be health, whether it be exposing the medical industry, exposing the educational system, Black history, things along those lines, the things that I tend to deal with, about to be revealing a lot more. And of course, politics, man. I'm really about to start revealing a lot when it comes to just like politics and just things to just focus on when it comes to the media and the propaganda that's out here. So we really about to get deep off in the trenches. But that podcast format coming soon, probably gonna be around the born day once I get the logo, all of that stuff created. I already got the name, but like I said, I ain't revealing the name. I just got to get the logo, all that good stuff created. May create it myself, who knows? Depends on how I'm feeling. But that's definitely gonna come soon. It's coming soon. Be on the lookout for that. I'm also about to start back making my immune boosting powders. So give me about another week or so, and I will have some of those available to sell. Get your immune system right and exact. So I'm gonna have some of those joints probably in about a week or so. So those are the 2 things that I want to let y'all know before I signed out for the night. With that being said, man, I'm done, man. I appreciate the donations. I appreciate all the comments, questions, add-ons, all that good stuff, man. As always, peaceful vibes. But I'm out, man. Y'all enjoy the rest of this Monday. I may tap in with y'all again tomorrow, so be on the lookout, probably around the same time. But enjoy the rest of the month, this Monday, y'all. I'm out. Peace.